inspired so many storytellers in the country to just begin storytelling. By just not even by training them, people like me, right?
True.
Just because you were telling stories, we felt that, oh wow, this is a big, immense field and there's so much to do. Why don't you just tell us, for everyone, from your vantage point of experience, how have you seen this entire ecosystem, this landscape of storytelling in India shape up over the years, from the time when you started to 2022 when we are talking right now?
So I got a school job, and then I built myself up again. I finished my post-graduation, my B.Ed, my M.Ed, all that in the side. It was a very lonely journey, I should say, because I couldn't even share it with my husband. It was just me, and I have to tell myself all the time, I am capable, I can, and I shall. This was the only mantra that I used for myself. And you see, there is something we have to give a benefit of doubt for destiny. And this happened in 1996. I still remember I hadn't gone to a single workshop. I hadn't gone anywhere. There was absolutely, it's like the curve, no? That it was flat. Because everyone said, what, storyteller? What is a storyteller? You know, and children, the teachers where we approached the schools would say, oh, our teachers tell us, what's the big deal about telling stories? We'll give you the library period. I didn't want to break into a library period, deprive children of their library period to be a storyteller.
Thank you for sharing your story with so much honesty, Geeta Ma'am, because I think anyone watching and listening to you today at this interview will sort of take back, or will align themselves with your story. Because a lot of women today, and let's be honest, there are more women getting into storytelling today than men. There are few in Vikram and some more in your batches, and very few in mine, but more women. Let's talk about women. And a lot of them switch careers to storytelling.
Correct.
Right? To get into it. Let's talk a little bit about, the real struggling bits that they have. We know that the storytelling ecosystem has also evolved. There is far more competition. There is a fight for visibility. There is a need to create platforms which will accept storytellers of all shapes and sizes and levels and skills. Everybody will, anyone putting together a festival will want a Geeta Ramanujam to come and be there, right? But at the same time, but the ones who just maybe trained under you or have some years of experience may not get that ticket. For them, it's a huge thing that, oh my God, I will never be on a stage because everybody wants Geeta Ma'am. Nobody will.
The minute any competition comes in and envy comes in and wanting to outdo the other comes in, it's not going to work. So it's very difficult. It's a very tricky thing that I'm trying to talk to you about. Second, I will do anything. I will offer a free storytelling because I want to be seen. So then the next question is, Geeta, but you're too expensive. I'm getting storytellers who will do it free for me. I say, go ahead, because I have a value for my story. For instance, when you say, I want to interview you, I say, okay, who is this person? Okay, Rituparna. Okay, I know her. I know she means what she says. I know her questions would be genuine. And that is when I agree. Not to anyone. I do get, I'm not trying to think, but I do choose.
Couple of things, like even during the Storied way, Vikram was there talking about storytelling as a career, and he said something which sort of resonated with a lot of storytellers, which he said, find your purpose behind storytelling.
Yes.
Whether it's going to sustain you. We were talking about sustainability. And
correct.
Sustainability are two things. One is, of course, financial sustainability, that you have enough so that you can fuel your future work, and sustainability that you can do anything for a long period of time.
Absolutely.
Right? Now, what do you need to do anything for a long period of time? You can sustain it financially, of course, but also spiritually and emotionally. Whether you think that that's what you are also saying, and which is something I believe in, that if you know that you have to fill your cup to be able to do this every day, what fills your cup sooner, faster, better, so that you can keep that value of telling stories, that I want to do it every day because it gives me satisfaction, because it gives me that purpose that I want to make a difference in the world. But at the end of the day, money is still important. I am somebody who will say that if you have to do it in the long term, you cannot be spending everything from your pocket and not expecting anything back.
Correct.
And you have to create a way that it is financially stable enough for you and you can keep it in the long run. Now, where and how will you find that paying client who is doing it, what resonates with your skill, your knowledge, is something very important. I agree with you that, if you feel that corporate storytelling will give you more work, please go towards that. You need certain training, you need certain vocabulary, you need certain experience in doing that. And I'd like to, because you said that you have different specialists coming and training. I work as a storyteller, trainer, consultant, and coach. And for me, my 90% of my work lies in these other part of my work, which is training, consulting, and coaching. Storytelling is, let's say, 10% of what I do, because most of my work comes from here, and I customize everything. So I do have a separate training for a not-for-profit, for a corporate, for a L&D person, because for me, it's more interesting to see how does storytelling solve their problems and the audience that they work with, right? But this visibility is important. Now, from you, my next question is, what steps can storytellers take to identify their own niche? Or how can they, I will not say stand out, but their purpose of storytelling? And where can they go find work? It's important to find work, whether for whatever purpose of sustainability. So where and how can they find work? Because I'll call it the market, schools, publishers, performing. This is kind of getting, I will not say saturated. You use the word mushrooming. So there are lots of now options for any person to say, okay, she's going to charge 2,000. This one is going to charge 5. I will go for the one who's going to charge 1,000 rupees. So I'm sure in this entire market, I'll find somebody who. So it's storyteller against storyteller at the end of the day. So if you were to give your inputs on developing new areas of work, new scope of work, how can a storyteller work on herself? How can she build skills so that she can grow in a systemic manner without feeling victimized in this entire space?
I got it. Okay, I can give you one example. In Valley School, after the 10th, the children had to spend 1 year before they went into the 11th and 12th to find out what they wanted to do or take up as a career. Now, what they could do is this. They could go to a science person, do a little bit of experimentation, everything. And then they could go to a library and sit with me and say, what are books about? They could go for a debate. They could go for a music class. And then what they did, which is what I liked, or probably I suggested this because I love that. What is it that you don't want to do? What we call as the Neti theory. So the child would write down, I don't want to take music, for sure. I don't want to do puppets or art. Okay? So what is left is I'm very interested in that experiment. I'm very interested in gardening. Okay, I know children would come back and say, I want to be a good gardener, and you won't believe it today. I see them all going back to agriculture. Now, here there is no prestige. Okay, there is no labeling of prestige here. Unlike the time and those times, you had to be either an engineer, a doctor, or now. These children could be different. So the space was given. Now here, they didn't learn only by looking outside. Those 5 friends have become engineers. I have to become an engineer. These 5 people have gone to IIT coaching. Oh my God, I need to do that. So here, all the storytellers are only looking at other storytellers. And every time they look at a storyteller, say, oh, I can't make sounds like Geeta Ma'am does. Where can I do voice practice? I have to be there where she is. Ma'am, I want to be like you. I know. They say, we want to be like you. We want to be where you are. And I tell them, no, because each one, that, like they say, each one's sorrow is different. Right? You can't say everybody is sad. Maybe. But everybody is sad in their own ways. So you have to sit down and remember that everybody is same. So first of all, you have to write down what you really don't want. This is what I would say first. And please Today I learned storytelling. Tomorrow I want to begin. Ma'am, I finished my storytelling 4 days ago and I was on that platform. Because once you get onto the platform, there is no learning, there is only performing. And the performance comes with competition. The performance comes with anger. The performance comes with identity crisis. Forget it. The Facebook, this world is only 0.3%. The actual world is very different. There are 90% of people who are still not on Facebook storytellers. So, you want to be only a Facebook storyteller or you really want to be a storyteller? Okay. And what is the purpose? What do you really want to do with yourself? Go, spend time. Don't be in a hurry. Look at yourself. My thing is dance. I have learned dance. I want to do gestures and storytelling through dance. Don't switch. Be with it for a year. Just because you can also sing, when you hear someone singing, say, oh my God, I can also do that. Plan yourself first. Your story with the potential that you have. Practice 100 times. Take only 5 stories, not more than that. Practice it well, perfectly. Keep trying it on people. Finally, you will see that you are very popular because of that particular story. And that is when it's okay if you have to repeat it. Because I became famous because of my mountain and bird story. I became famous because of a lion and mosquito story. Now, I listen to thousands of stories and they are beautiful, but I don't try to emote them. Because I say, no, it's a good story to listen, but I have to take time if I have to practice. So I can't practice all the stories. Each one has their expertise. So first find out your 5 stories. A, what is it that you want from storytelling? Now, once you're confident and you know yourself, because nobody else is going to know you, okay? Make your portfolio and put your charge and don't compromise. Because you know you are worth that. Because I love myself. I don't need somebody else to love me. My husband may say, oh, that's terrible. You're not telling the story that the way she told that. It's okay, I know. Okay, but don't be overconfident. Perfect yourself. Try it out with people. And don't shut yourself from criticism. Because criticism helps you to be better. Don't let people just come and say, oh, you're so beautiful. Oh, I love that expression. And then you never learn. Say, no, don't do that. Tell me where can I improve? Okay? Try it out with children. Try it out with adults. Do free sessions in the beginning. So what if 3 months, 4 months, 5 months go by? It's just experiencing it. And then you say, this is my bag of stories. You say your story bag, right? This is my bag, little bag, mini bag of stories. 5 stories. And here these 5 stories, I am ready. My instrument is ready. My picture is ready. My puppet is ready. Whatever you want, but not all of it. Again, I must use puppet. I must use music. No. Just use your voice. That's also more than enough. And say, I am worth this. I know myself. I am a good storyteller. My storytellers. This is my story. And I know because I have experience. I think there can be no one who can fail if these are the steps that are taken. And don't keep trying to climb fast up that mountain. Keep sliding down. Okay? When you climb the ladder and you come down, remember when you climb the ladder, you have gone one more rung up. Come down again climb till you reach. And don't forget, even if you remove the ladder, remember the ladder that made you climb. Give your credits to people who have helped you along the way. Humility and gratitude makes a lot of difference in a person's expression and facial expressions and the heart from which you're telling a story. So be truthful to yourself. is what I would say.
What a beautiful way of answering a question, Geeta Ma'am. And I think in this one answer, you have taught a lot more that I think a person can even seek in by just enrolling in your course. My two bits is that while you're doing those 5 stories, test yourself. What are the 5 ways you can tell that 5 story?
That is up to the person. No,
up to the person.
I'm just saying that
I tell that I say this. Work on your 5 stories and find 5 ways of telling that story.
No, I don't think so. I don't think so, Ritu. I use mostly voice. I don't use too many things.
I'm not talking about voice. I'm talking
ways
about
also. I think it's fun.
No, I'm not saying that. What I'm trying to say is that at the end of the day, every story the story is the hero. The teller is not the hero, right? What you do with that story is what people will go back with. 90% times people ask me, will your course teach me how to make voices, how to make faces, how to wear, how to make a prop, how to hold a puppet? And I say, this is not what storytelling is all about. Storytelling is how you can make your audience feel. What will they remember in that story?
Perfect.
So I say every story, play with the story so well that you can highlight different feelings in it. That, when she told this story, I felt love for this character. When I heard the same story another time, I had this question about the world. So find different ways to play with the same story that your audience, even if they've heard the story before from you or from anyone else, they feel that today I'm going back with something new. The same story. And that's a very special quality.
No, but Ritu, let me add something. It's like a mango when you put, we have something called mavadu in Tamil, okay? And it's very tasty. So these are small mangoes, you put it in the brine. And then slowly it starts pulling that salt and that chili, and then it shrinks and becomes that beautiful, tasty mango. Okay. I tell that with stories, I have changed, I have evolved with my story. And how it happens sometimes is because of the listeners. You see, the listeners can prompt you in a very special way to change, and it will come from nowhere. For instance, the first time I added that this bird was dying was when I did my first one in 2017 in the Himalayas at Satpur, because till then, from 2002 or rather 1998, I've been telling that story in the almost same way, except adding things, okay? But this was the first time when I looked at that tree, looked at the audience, and looked at that mountain, that for the first time I actually said, let me say how the bird died. And you won't believe it, in that session, what touched everyone was that. Because it came from my heart. As I looked, you got it. So it's not that, I think
this is exactly what I'm talking about. This is exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but that can come only by experience. That's why I say it's a service. It is not buying a sari, aaj 100 rupiah, kal 500 rupiah. No. You have to experience. No one becomes a storyteller overnight. No one. Whether it's Vikram Sridhar, everyone has spent time to be able to say. But these are also not answers.
Yeah.
Okay, these are also not answers. I'm just saying that let that person feel that I need to add this. What is it that attracted the listener? What is that one thing that attracted the listener? That is when you listen to the listener.
Yes.
When you're with yourself all the time. How am I going to make the storytelling quote? How am I going to get an applause? How will I look as a storyteller? Not going to work. Never. That storytelling is a very tough taskmaster. Okay? He's going to say, ha, 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 ha. Okay? That story is going to say, how are you going to treat me now? Are you
Absolutely.
respecting me?
Yes,
Are you?
yes.
Yes,
The story will slap you across your face if you've
absolutely.
done it wrong. It's going to haunt you if you don't tell it well. And if you used a story, thankfully, gratefully, it's never happened to me. But I must say that this is when I had just begun. A very senior writer, author. She's also a storyteller because she tells stories from a book. She told me that, you know what, I don't, I'm not very fond of storytellers because at the end of the day, it's all about they themselves and their
I,
stories. And I say, the day it happens to me, I'll stop telling the story.
yes, perfect.
For me, it's the story which
Yes.
is first. If my audience does not remember that story, then I did a bad job. And thankfully, gratefully, by the grace of God, it's always been the story which has led me to make me tell it in a certain way. And also, at times, like you just said, the audience has compelled me to change the story while I'm telling it, because I can see them distill the emotions differently. They can receive it differently. They've challenged me by saying, "Oh, we've heard this before," or "I think this is that story," and then you sort of play with it. Then, but you all at all times, it is always about the story.
True.
Geeta Ma'am, one last question to you:
Yes.
how does a storyteller decide when to work for free, when to work for a fee, and how to balance the two?
I think we had a very good discussion recently among all the book publishers. One of them was Funky Rainbow with Vidya Mani. And she said they have a group and they do discuss. And they say, listen, let's all get into a pact that we will not charge. We will charge for this and we won't charge for that. Unfortunately, we're not very united in our storytelling tribes and groups. Each one is different. Because the problem is that it has not still become like a graduation course where you can say for MA graduation, you can charge this fee and it's fixed, right? But unfortunately, since we have growing storytellers and we have the very experienced ones, it's difficult to put a rate, flat rate, which is not fair also. What I would say is if I check, okay, I do this. When somebody says, a corporate person, for instance, comes and says, give me a concession for the course. Okay. So I ask them, why do you want a concession? Ma'am, I don't have enough to pay. Okay. So I ask them again to send me the reason. And then I go into, suppose you're from Accenture and you're working as a HR professional. I know the fee that I know the salary you get. And I completely say, sorry, we cannot give you the concession. Okay? Because I know you can. You can pay. There are people who have borrowed money and they have come to our courses. So I won't say that even if I have only 5 people, I'm aiming for 15. But if this is, because one person starts asking a concession, everybody, it will spread. That is one part. The second part is, I do have one free seat always where a person can apply for it. And that person says, I'm in, for instance, in this course, we have Harshita, a very young student, and she's reaching out to a lot of underprivileged children. She's a young girl, but she's reaching out. And she's also, there was one person from Nagpur. She sent me photographs of the rural school, of which she's the principal, and how she's doing it absolutely free of charge, collecting money from the community. And she sent me the fee that she has collected from the community and everything breakup. She sent me 5 pages of how they manage the food, how they. Now I told her, you don't even. She was ready to pay me 5,000 out of the 20,000. I said, no, I don't even want the 5,000 because they are the deserving people. Okay, so this is how I decide that. Okay, this is as far as charging the fee. Doing something. I'm doing an interview with you. I'm not charging you for this. Okay, so I'm saying this is for me to showcase, to spread a good word. This platform, though I'm spending half an hour, the same half an hour, if I'm going to spend with, say, 100 teachers on I would be charging, isn't it? Now, this is where someone came in and said, How do you? So one person recently said, ma'am, 30 teachers, we can't pay too much. 1.5 hours, I'll pay you 6,000. They all will pay 200 each. Okay? I said, done. Reasonable. Because she's a friend. But what happened is 70 people came. Not 30, 70. 200 into 70, 14,000. I stopped, you won't believe it. When I saw the participants, I sent an SMS. I said, Sudha, there are 70 people, not 30. Are you going to give me 200 per head? And she said, can we make it 10, Geeta? I said, okay. You got it. So you will have to see, you have to be very, very negotiate, and you have to be a good marketing person. You cannot just, of course, the first thing today we need is marketing. Marketing and not packaging when you can't deliver. You'll have to market yourself. I said, Sudha, 40 years of experience in the storytelling field. I'm charging only 200. I usually charge 1,000 per head. But for your sake. So he said, coming on my SMS, GPay, the 10,000 came and I began. You understand? So don't compromise or send a written note. I tell Deva, who's my secretary, she said, but they said, I said, who asked you to say? I'm going to cut it from your salary. Have it all written down, written communication. Gmail is not a big problem. WhatsApp, print it out, say you have promised this and advance. I mostly take advance, 50% advance and then only the other 50%. But all that, when you know your worth, you can pay a price. I mean, you can do for Dharwad, rural school, very poor. They said 40 teachers, madam, in Kannada, we want your training. I said, okay, no charge. 2 hours, I said, no charge, I will. But then they said they will raise funds for my next training. I said, okay. This one, I will do free. Next one, you pay me. Okay, so
I quite like it that you're saying that marketing is important, because I think everybody's understood that it's about marketing, but genuine, authentic marketing, not packaging like
ethical. No, ethical.
Yes, absolutely. Your ethics. Your ethics.
Somebody said Vikram Shita doesn't charge anything. I said, take him. No, I said, take him. He's a good storyteller. He's good. He's as good as you. Better than me also, no problem. But I will take a payment, sir. Okay, I will take a payment. So these are my charges. You can't afford it. Next time, when you can afford it, you call me. Okay, so I think we have to put our foot down.
Absolutely.
We are not that I want to grab everything. Now, this grabbing tendency is very, very, grab everything that comes your way. So I tell people, you also have to learn how to take, you have to learn to give both. When to give and when to take. And doesn't matter what people say about you. Oh, Geeta, you're too expensive. No problem. I have no issues about that. I am expensive because I'm worth it. I am worth it.
I tell this story to everybody that there was a school leader, couple of meetings with the school leader, and the principal asked me, like when we were talking about, storytelling and a plan and a pitch, what we could do. Out of the blue, she just asked me, what does your husband do? And I said, how is it even important? What does my husband do? Later on, of course, the school director, after my proposal said, madam, we find you very expensive. So, and I put that together, that the school principal asking me about my husband. And I said, they were trying to just figure out what is at stake for me to charge that fee.
Right.
That am I dependent on my husband's salary to make to pay my bills, right, or do I really mean it? I responded by saying that I'm very expressive, and that's what I am charging for. I am not, and I refuse to work. I've also walked out of corporate, let's say, engagements where people have refused to pay me my fee. They promised fee, reduced fee for bulk work, and they say, no, sorry, we can't give you as many people, take it or leave it. I said, please leave, take it. I am leaving. I've walked out. So never, bow down, compromise. Yeah. Absolutely. Fight wherever your right is and fight for your right and negotiate your fee. I must tell you.
I just have a very small example. When I started storytelling training, I was about 5 years in that, and famous schools, international schools, they started calling me for their training. And there was one school, I remember the principal, in fact, she was well known, and she called me for a training for 2 hours. It was part of a 1 week training for the teachers. She said, I'm only calling the best in the field. I said, oh, I'm honored. 2 hours. And she agreed to pay me then 5,000 rupees for the 2 hours. I said, okay. Went there and she said, Geeta, where are your things? I said, what things? For training, don't you have puppets? I said, no. Where are your aren't you going to use any props to tell stories? I said, you said training, 2 hours. I can do it. I don't need props. I don't need all this. Then I can't pay you. I said, oh, you can't pay me. But won't the teachers be disappointed because they know that today I'm coming for the training? Yeah, but I can't pay you. Now, this was the last minute, remember. So I got a deal with her. I said, can you come and sit in the training? Can I have that deal? You come and sit in that training that I'm going to train for 2 hours. Will you do that? Yeah, sure. I said, okay. You come and sit in that training and just watch and see how you feel. Okay? So there I went. I did my training. And of course, the 2 hours, I said, oh, thank you very much. And everyone said, no. All the teachers came and said, when are you coming again? And that's when I came out and I said, bye. Thank you for the opportunity. And she said, I'm so sorry, Geeta. I think it was wonderful. And she said, I think you deserve more, but here is your money. Yeah. So sometimes you'll have to take that risk because people have preconceived ideas. And this, I'm sure you might have experienced the corporate field. I go to an L&T in Bombay and that lady, she has got a job. So she'll come and tell you in the beginning, when you start the training itself, remember you have to do this. Remember you have to do that. I said, we haven't even come to the short break. I said, can you not tell me? Can you not tell me what I have to do? Yeah, I know what I'm doing. That's why you called me, right? So take it at the end of the day, okay? Take your feedbacks and then you see what, because once they pay you, they also expect so many things. And then another thing is you cannot please all the people all the time at all. Yeah. That is for sure. You'll have to just do your work and you keep going. That's it. I'm sure, because some of them don't want to say it was good because they have to pay you more. But that's fine. You just go do your work and I just keep coming. I said, this is the best. My ability, excellent. I excel in myself. I have done the best in myself. I've given the best. Yeah. And that I know. When you give the best with sincerity, it doesn't matter whether they're going to say yes or no, or they like or they don't like. I think you have done your best.
The two things which I do, I always do an audit, which is to understand where my participants coming from, whether it's a school or a corporate. I always try to find out what are they seeking from this training.
Yeah.
And that gives me a sense of understanding. Sure. See, these are the 5 things or 6 things, 10 things, 20 things they wanted to know.
Right.
And see, I've covered all of it. And I also value my work so much that I do say it for people who sort of negotiate hard with me or who try to negotiate. I said, even if one person says, I did not learn anything, I will refund my entire fee to you. But okay. If they say that we loved it and we want more of it, will you pay for double the price that I'm asking? Okay. If you can't give me that, don't ask me to reduce my fee, because I'm not going to reduce the value of what I'm giving. Right. When somebody says, come and tell a story and I cannot pay you a fee, can you do it for this much? You're not saying that I'm going to tell a bad story or a not so good story. You will always do your best.
Because that much energy and time and that story is going to be exactly like how you...
Absolutely. Wow, I think I must tell everybody that Geeta Ma'am, we've spent over an hour talking. We've given you 30 minutes. But I think
wonderful.
Wonderful, heart to heart. Like I said, it's my win. that I get a one-on-one with you, 1 hour with you, with your valuable, insights into the world of storytelling. And I'm super duper excited to, maybe present it to all the listeners, maybe split it into 2 episodes, because it's such a high value of thing, and I want people to consume it and experience Geeta Ramanujam, even if they've not ever met her and interacted with her one-on-one. Did you enjoy this conversation?
Very much, because I only thought I didn't tell a small story, but that's fine, I think, because we have already overshot the time, right?
Yes, but you've shared stories. You've shared
Yeah.
stories from your life,
Yeah.
how you started, your own struggles, which are pretty much the struggles that anyone is facing even today after so many years. So,
Yes.
Thank you so much, Geeta Ma'am.
Thank you very much, Rituparna. I hope that this can help our struggling storytellers. And I would still say pondering within oneself and going a little slow with oneself would also help, because the world is not going to end in a day. And we still have a long way to go before we actually experience storytelling. So go slow. Don't be in this hurry and just do workshop hopping. What you've learned, try to assimilate and see, as I said, list out what you want to do, what you really don't want to do. And I'm sure it's going to pay very well, both passionately, mentally, socially, economically. Everything has a way to come back to you. Okay. So, thank you, Ritu, for this
valuable input. Such valuable inputs. I must also tell you, I agree completely with what you just said. I must also say there have been people who've done your workshops and they've come to me that I've done Geeta Ma'am, I want to do yours.
Yeah, yeah.
How much time have you spent? I'm sure it's the other way around also.
Yes.
And I always tell them, how much time have you spent between Geeta Ma'am's and mine? 6 months, 1 year, 2 years. And I said, okay, fine. If you've done it, then I want you to very, very, very carefully. You will be the toughest participant in I'll have both my eyes and my ears and my mind on you, because I want you to very clearly articulate what are you looking for.
Right.
Because till you know what you're looking for, you don't
exactly
know the area that you want to develop.
Absolutely.
And I have to be truthful whether this program will help you get there or not.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And it's not just a repetition of how Geeta Ma'am does her workshop, how Rituparna does her workshop.
Again,
it's not whether it's helping you find
exactly, that. Exactly. So it's like finding different colleges. Yeah.
You need to go within to find the kind of storyteller that you want to be.
It's finding you. And I one more thing I feel, take out all that negativity and fill it with a lot of love. I think that's beautiful. Just being itself will give you a lot of love, actually. That love is so important, because that love has a way of just negating all this. Okay, if she's telling the story well, fine. That person is telling, fine. You are also telling the story well. I'm also happy. Okay. So you tell your story. Listen to your story. Keep listening to your own stories, because that heart has a way of talking to you. Right. So I always say, fill it with love, lot of love. Love for humanity is what a storyteller needs to have first. So I must love telling stories. Yeah.
On that note, beautiful note, it's time to close this interview. Yes. Thank you so much, Geeta Ma'am. And it's been my
so much, and all the best for all your future. I'm sure you're doing wonderful work. I know I see some of it I don't, very honestly. I have to tell you that, because I'm not so much of an online person.
I know.
So I sometimes see, sometimes watch, sometimes. So all the best for everything.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Keep showing us the way and we will follow.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.